Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing an Unchained deck profile, and this deck is totally going to be off the chain. So I'm really excited for this one, because it's a super fun deck that just basically revolves around destroying cards on the field to get certain effects, like destroying your own cards in order to special summon other cards from your deck, and everything in this deck just about floats, which is really cool. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit that bell down there so you guys can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the links in the description where you guys can check out the Patreon and the Ko-Fi to become patrons and Ko-Fi members. It's really cool. So let's get straight on this. And this has one of the coolest artworks of any Link monster in the entire game. So let's get straight on this. So first off, we're playing 3 copies of the Abominable Unchained Soul. So this card is a really interesting card that you can play from anywhere from 0 to 3 in the deck. I personally prefer 3 of it because of its special summon ability. So you can only special summon the Abominable Unchained Soul once per turn. And if a card you control is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. And if this card is special summoned, you can discard a card to destroy a card on the field, which can also get you cards that are on your side of the field that get destroyed, like your traps and your spells to trigger their effects to special summon other cards from your deck, which is really cool. And then it also has the ability that if this card is special summoned, it has the effect that you can discard. And then once per turn during the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was destroyed on the field and sent to the graveyard this turn, you can special summon this card but place it on the bottom of the deck when it leaves the field. So this card is a constant floating boss monster that has 3,000 attack points. This card is really good. And the new card, it's the newest card out of Ignition Assault. Then I actually bumped down the Unchained Soul of Disasters down to 2, because it has 0 attack and it's just kind of a wall. It helps with link summoning, but I just feel like the Abominable Unchained Soul, I wanted to play 5 of them in a roundabout way. I thought about playing 2 and 2, but I really came down to it and played 3 and 2, because I really wanted to see the Abominable Unchained Soul every single game at the beginning of my turn, or the first turn, or the second turn of the duel. So this one does is it gains 300 attack for each Unchained card in your graveyard, and then it also has the ability that you can target a face-up monster your opponent controls, and then use it and this monster to link summon a dark monster from your extra deck immediately after this card resolves, which is really cool to be able to link climb into the Unchained Soul of Rage and then Anguish, and then all the way up into the Unchained Abomination. So you really get a lot of value out of these, but they can be special summoned from the deck, so I just play them at 2 each, or 2 copies of it. And if this card is on the field to destroy a battle or by card effect, you can target an Unchained monster in your graveyard and just instantly special summon it, which is what I was getting around to with them floating into one another. Then I play 3 copies of the Water Unchained twin, Ricky. You can quick effect target a card on the field and destroy it, and then after you do, if this card is in the field or is destroyed by card effect, you can, or by battle, you can special summon an Unchained monster from your hand or deck. So it floats into the other Unchained twin really easily, or the Abominable Unchained Soul, or into the Unchained Soul Disaster. Like, they all float into one another, which is really cool. Then we play 3 copies of the Unchained twin Aruha. I think it's Aruha. Don't blame me if I mispronounce that. But you can target a monster you control. You can have special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except Fiend, and also destroy that card. And if you do, special summon this card from your hand. And if this card is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can special summon an Unchained monster from your hand or deck. Basically, the water one isn't quite as good because it doesn't special summon from your hand. But the fire one does, so you always want to open up the fire one, and we're actually going to be getting another main deck monster in the next set, which is going to be really cool. Then I play a little bit of an engine in here for myself, and that's a single copy of Dark Spirit of Banishment and a single copy of Dark Spirit of Malice. The reason I play these each at 1 each is because they share abilities that when an opponent's monster either activates an effect or declares an attack, you can target a level 8 Fiend monster, and if you do, special summon it, but its effects are negated, which kind of sucks. And then if a level 8 Fiend monster is sent to the graveyard while this card's in your graveyard, you can add this card back to your hand, so they constantly float between one another, where you're getting the Abominable Unchained Soul or the Unchained Soul Disaster. Depending on which one you need, you can special summon them back with the Banishment and Malice really easily. So I play 2 of each of these, or 1 of each of these, which is really helpful. Then we play 3 copies of Ash Blossom to round out the monsters. The Ash Blossoms really help out because you're just trying to stop. You're destroying everything on principle, but you're wanting to use the Ash Blossoms to just kind of prevent your opponent from doing anything. So the Ash Blossoms really help out with that. So that's it for the monsters, guys. let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're playing a single copy of Upstart Goblin. Upstart Goblin just helps us thin the deck, and we're playing a 39 card deck. One copy of Monster Reborn, because you can extend with a lot of your cards, and just putting another one of the Unchained Soul twins back on the field can really help out. Or if you link summon out like the Unchained Abomination and it gets destroyed, you can bring it back. Like, you have a lot of options to bring back your link monsters and stuff like that with Monster Reborn. We play a single copy of Pot of Desires. Pot of Desires helps out, but I don't want Desires into Desires. And since we play multiple copies of everything, that's why I play 3 copies of the Abominable Unchained Soul, is because if you banish 1 or 2, you still have the option to draw 1. And so Pot of Desires is okay in this deck, but because it doesn't have any inherent draw power, so I play it as a 1-of. 1 copy of Pot of Avarice, because it's at 1 now. Pot of Avarice is really good in this deck because you're destroying a lot of your own monsters, and so you just use this to shuffle them back into the deck, like your twins and disasters. Like, I think you want to keep a disasters usually in the graveyard so you can just revive it, but the twins, you want to shuffle them back into the deck quickly so you can start getting your plays off a little bit easier. 2 copies of Twin Twister, because you want to just destroy cards, because a lot of your cards trigger off of getting destroyed. So you can destroy your trap cards and trigger their effects, which is really cool. Then we play 3 copies of the Abomination's Prison. Abomination's Prison is really neat. It's basically like Rhoda for this deck. You can add an Unchained card from your deck to your hand, which is literally any Unchained card in the deck, which is awesome. And then if it's destroyed by a card effect, you can special summon an Unchained monster from your deck. So this card is really good, and you always want to play this card at 3 in this deck. 3 copies of Wailing of the Unchained Soul. Wailing of the Unchained Soul really helps out because if a link monster, if you link summon an Unchained link monster, which all the monsters in the extra deck are link monsters, you can target 1 card on the field and destroy it. And if this set card is destroyed, you can special summon an Unchained monster from your deck as well, which is really, really helpful. We play 3 copies of Dark Hole because we're going to destroy everything in this deck. If you want to play Lightning Storm, you can play Lightning Storm in this position, but I wanted to go for more of a budget aspect of this deck, so I don't have Lightning Storms. I didn't want to proxy those for you guys because I feel like three $100 cards might turn you guys off of this deck, but you can play just Dark Hole and side in if you have the Lightning Storms, play them. If you don't, it's not going to kill the deck if you don't play them. But you can also play something like Torrential Tribute if you want to use that on your opponent's turn, but I want to be more reactive. I want to be more active instead of reactive, so I play Dark Hole instead of Torrential. Then we play 3 copies of Called by the Grave because we just want to stop hand traps because a lot of our monsters are special summon from deck. So this deck's a little bit weak to Ash, but it happens. So you had the Called by the Grave to just stop that. And you can sometimes chain block where you destroy multiple cards on your side of the field, and Ash can't hit every single one. So like if you Twin Twisters one of your traps and one of your Abomination Prisons, you can special summon a monster, 2 monsters from your deck. So you can trigger one of them, but your opponent might Ash one of them. And that's why I play Desires, is because it's kind of bait for the Ash. So anyways, that's it for the spells. Let's get into the traps. So we do actually play 6 traps in this deck. And it is 3 copies of Escape of the Unchained. And we play 3 copies of an Abominable Chamber of the Unchained, which is really cool because the Escape lets you target an Unchained monster you control and a card your opponent controls and destroy them both, which triggers both of them. And if it's set and it's destroyed, you can special summon an Unchained monster from your deck. And then Abominable Chamber of the Unchained lets you special summon an Unchained monster from your hand or graveyard. And if it's destroyed, you can special summon an Unchained from your deck, which is really cool as well. So this one kind of helps you unbrick if you do draw the copy of your Disasters. And this one, if you draw it and you have a twin, you can flip this, destroy your twin, and then special summon this from your hand, and then special summon this from your deck. So you have a bunch of monsters on the field. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. Another notable card that I did mention earlier, if you want to play Torrential Tribute, you can drop stuff out of this deck, like the Upstart Goblin, maybe something else like that. A couple of cards out of here if you want to, because Torrential Tribute is a very viable option. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing 2 copies of the Unchained Abomination. I just play it at 2 now because I feel like you're going to climb in this deck, but 2 is plenty. So it takes 2 monsters, including a Link monster, which you're always going to use either Anguish or Rage to go into this card. The Link arrows are fantastic on this card, and if this card basically can destroy up to 3 cards per turn. If a card on the field is destroyed by a card effect, you destroy a card. If when another monster is destroyed by battle, you destroy a card, and then during the end phase, just on principle, you destroy a card, because why not? So this card's really, really good to be able to destroy cards on the field and to be able to destroy everything. Then we play 3 copies of Unchained Soul of Anguish. Anguish is super, super neat. Basically, Rage and Anguish share abilities that you can target a face-up monster your opponent controls, and immediately after this card resolves, you link summon a dark monster using this card and that opponent's monster by only using those cards. And then Anguish's effect is that if this card on the field is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can target one fiend monster in your graveyard, except another copy of itself, and add it back to your hand. You never want to end on Anguish because you want to go immediately into the copy of Abomination. Usually you want to end on Rage, and then on your opponent's turn go into Anguish, and then on your turn go into the copy of the Abominable Unchained, or not Abominable, but Unchained Abomination. So it just kind of depends on how you end on the field, but usually you want to end on Rage, which Rage is really, really, really good. It has the same ability that you can quick effect, target a face-up special summon monster your opponent controls, and immediately after this card resolves, you link summon a dark monster using that monster and this monster on the field to link summon a dark fiend, which is really cool. And if this card on the field is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can target a fiend monster in your graveyard and add it back to your hand. So basically, it's the same exact card as Anguish. You just have the extra ability to link summon, or you have the extra ability to link climb. Then we play a Mech Knight Crusadia Avermax. Avermax is basically just here as an alternative boss monster. It's just a good option to have in here if you want to go into the Avermax. We play a single copy of Boral Sword. It is a dark monster, so it's easy to go into in this deck, and you can OTK your opponent extremely easily. If you have like Unchained Abomination on the field, and then you summon Boral Sword, you're usually going to win, and it's really easy to crank out 2 Link monsters like that. Usually I end after maybe the first turn. I usually end on a Rage and an Abominable Unchained Soul. And then the follow-up turn, I end up with Anguish and Abominable Unchained Soul and maybe a set card. And then I end up with this and a Boral Sword by the next turn. It just depends on how you draw on the deck and how you're playing it. 1 copy of Boral Load as another alternative. If you can't beat through it, you're just going to take control of it. 1 copy of the Blackluster Soldier Link monster. You don't have to play this if you don't want to. I have one, and that's why I play it. But you can change it out if you want to for another Link 3, like Trisbania or something, if you want to go that route. 1 copy of Unicorn. It is a dark monster as well, so it kind of goes with the theme, and it bounces monsters instead of destroys them, because sometimes you're not going to be able to destroy, you're going to have to bounce. 1 copy of Phoenix to pop spells and traps, and a single copy of Cerberus because we need a little bit more destruction in this deck. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a super fun deck. I highly recommend that you give this deck a try. I don't think it's a little on the higher end of a deck. It's probably, I would probably say $150-ish to build this deck, but it's relatively budget. I mean, it's like I said, it's on the higher end, but I would probably have to say you might be able to get the core. I don't know how much Rages are going for. I know Anguishes are really cheap. I know Abominations are really cheap, but it shouldn't be too expensive. Maybe $100. So, anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely tell me what you think of this deck down in the comments down below, and hit that bell in there so you can come part of the notification squad, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you around, guys.